Shams Charania, and it happened, and this is where Byer's the best, right before Byer's about to give his update. Here I am getting ready. We're reading, talking to people, getting ready for the show. Kevin Durant reportedly has asked out of Brooklyn. So, look, what I thought, and you have to be willing, okay, you have to be willing to say you're wrong in any business and in life. What I thought was it was a game of chicken that they held Kyrie Irving's feet to the fire, and Kevin Durant laid in the cut and said, hey, let's just see how it plays out. And that's exactly what I thought. I thought, frankly, that the Nets won, right? I thought that the Nets won. I thought that the Nets had figured out if they just grind Kyrie a little bit, he will, in fact, back down. And you get him for a year, and you make him play and prove that he wants to be part of the Nets. And then this happens. Kevin Durant wants out, which means Kyrie Irving wants out, which means the Nets are going to have to. The only time I can think of a team not acquiescing to a superstar's desire to be traded was Kobe Bryant, right? And Rick Bucher obviously was very much part of that story. Kobe said he wanted out. He was supposedly going to be traded to the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls would not give up Luol Deng as part of the trade. I know, as crazy as it seems now, like you wouldn't give up Luol Deng. And he ends up remaining with the Lakers, coming back. They get Phil Jackson back. They win 2 titles, and now he's a Laker for life. Mamba out, and obviously, tragically, he passed away a couple years ago in that horrific helicopter accident. But the point was, that's the only guy. Kevin Durant just signed a new deal. He's still under contract for 4 more years. But part of these contracts and part of the massive amount of money that these guys made is they really don't have to play. You can't, you want to take all my money? Fine. I can, because traditionally, the owners could bleed the players out, right? That's the real secret to all of these collective bargaining agreement negotiations is they can bleed the lower level rank and file players out and the mid-level players out. The guys making $20 and $30 million, don't get me wrong, they like making $20, $30, $40 million, but they have $200 million plus all their endorsements set aside. Kevin Durant has partnered with people and been a brilliant businessman. My guess is that he's got close to $500 million in assets sitting on the sideline. So if you don't want to play, but you don't want to play him for a year, I don't think he's Kyrie Irving crazy enough to sit, but financially it doesn't hurt him the way it used to hurt guys. But this is a wow. And I just cannot fathom, and I got to catch my breath and start to think, okay, what do you trade for a Kevin Durant? What's his value on the market, and where does he want to go? If you're a valued customer, you deserve a simple gesture of appreciation from your credit card company. That's why Discover matches all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year. Discover, exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply. Jay Stu, let me just get your instant reaction. USC, UCLA obviously is closer to home for all of us, and I want to get to that. But the Kevin Durant thing, immediately, what do you think when you read that from Shams Charania?
The Kevin Durant wanting a trade, 2 days after Kyrie Irving opts in, we just assumed that they would just kind of play it out. Shocking to me. It confirms those reports earlier that he was not talking to the team and that the comments he made on that podcast last week were just comments to kind of placate us as he was working behind the scenes and getting the hell out of Dodge. This is yet another bombshell in seemingly an off-season of many bombshells so far, and I don't even know if free agency has officially begun, has it?
This from Adrian Wojnarowski. Phoenix and Miami are among the 2 teams that Kevin Durant has on his wish list, sources tell ESPN. But the Nets plan to move Durant where they can get the best possible deal. With 4 years on his contract, there's no shortage of teams willing to unload assets for Durant. Wow. Byron, what do you think when you hear it?
I in a way, it makes me again kind of feel how I felt when Kevin Durant left Oklahoma City. It's not the exact same scenario by any means, not even close. But, he always, I guess he kind of went by the beat of his own drum. And this just seems like a move that we see so common in the NBA. He chose the Nets over the Knicks, didn't go there. Granted, teamed up with Kyrie, but now it's just another, going's not good. I'm getting out of here. And so, I don't know, I guess honestly it was a little disappointment. I was a little disappointed in hearing it.
In what?
Just of all right, it's not working out here. Let me find a new team to go to. And and when he left Oklahoma City for Golden State, he had his reasons. My biggest problem with it was I just thought it was, like many people, thought it was an easy ticket, but also Oklahoma City was so close, and they were so close to beating Golden State. You joined the enemy that it had a bad taste. Well, then he left Golden State and was somewhat criticized for it, but could have gone to the Knicks and have been the apple of that city's eye, and instead he goes to the other team in that city and is like, all right, this is where I want to be. This is where it is. And now after the short tenure that it was, and now he's ready to bail on that one as well. So that's where I was disappointed.
Okay. Can I give you a little, just a thought that just came in my mind, and you guys allow me, and then I want you guys to hop in on it. Okay. I told people, and we talked about this when Kenny Atkinson was there. Okay. And this is when Durant first got there. He went there with Kyrie. Remember, Durant wasn't healthy. Wasn't playing. Brooklyn was widely considered to have the best culture in the league, or a culture that everybody wanted to be a part of. Right. Obviously, with Kenny gone and most of those players gone, and then they pick up Harden, and now they get Simmons, and this is really what the Nets have talked about in the offseason, which is rebuilding their culture, right? Okay, so what do Phoenix and Miami have in common?
Well, there's heat culture. We know that for sure. Yes.
Right? And honestly, the Suns are the same. Right, the Suns are an organization that your GM's a young former player, your coach is a youngish former player who's incredibly well respected. You have a team that seems to act like grown-ups and adults and competes and plays as one. And I think part of this is a longing for the days of the days of Golden State, where he, again, went to a team that had a great culture. Part of it is, at some point, Durant's got to be honest with himself and go like, hey, Golden State had a good culture before I was there and when I was gone. Brooklyn had a good culture. Maybe some of it and a good portion of it is you, not everybody else. And this is from, as you guys will give me the business, maybe the world's biggest Kevin Durant fan, right? But I think he thinks he's the solution when he may be more part of the problem than even he would like to admit. And I think that portion of it is just fascinating. Fascinating. I mean, look, if Miami gets him and they don't have to give up too many primary assets, they become the immediate favorite in the East. I think Phoenix, he's the guy that Phoenix has needed. Although we don't know what Chris Paul looks like, next year and going forward. But you do, again, feel like they have almost all the pieces, and you can see Ayton going back in return. But I do think it's interesting that he longs for this great culture, which supposedly they had back in the day in Oklahoma City, and then it kind of became the Russ and Kevin show. They had at Golden State before he got there, and it sort of was around when he was there. And they had before he got to Brooklyn, and now they clearly don't have. What do you think, Buyer? It's a lot because this is all happening like in real time. This is the fun part of this time of year because this happens in real time. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it is a lot. The revenge factor of if he would go to the Phoenix would make the NBA crazy, but I think there's a lot of validity with what you said. I don't know what Jason thinks about it, but
if the money wasn't right, or if the Westbrook wasn't the guy that the Nets wanted for the Kyrie trade, I'm just wondering, like, this is a totally different animal, right? This is a totally different animal. But the Lakers, there's no way the Lakers could play into this, right? Money-wise and compensation-wise, that's not what we're looking at, right?
What are they going to give back?
I know.
Well, I mean, like, look, would it be amazing if they would trade LeBron James for him? Yeah, but they're never going to do it.
I mean, how about
trade Anthony Davis for him?
How about that?
Trade Anthony Davis?
Either of those would just be, yet again, bombshell material.
I mean, I would trade Anthony Davis for him on the Lakers in a heartbeat. I just don't know if I don't think that's somewhere he wants to go. Oh man, this is so good.